evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, parents, grandparents, friends, and family, to our Strings Orchestra concert. I told the kids just before they came in, I said, you guys look fantastic. And listening to you the last few weeks, you're going to sound even better. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the very best events that we do. To see the students grow from the beginning of the year till now is pretty amazing. But I don't want to steal any of the thunder, and I do want to introduce our fantastic strings orchestra teacher, Mr. Keena Thompson. He's going to take you through the tune.
Thank you. Well, good evening. Thanks for coming out. Such a big night. The students on stage here have been working so hard all year, and I'm sure you've heard it at home. What the plan is tonight is to kind of take you through our journey from October until today. So we're going to show you kind of where we started and how far they've come, and I'll kind of give you cues about where we were in the year along the way. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. The very first thing that we learned, after we learned how to open our instruments, how to hold them, and take care of them, we learned the D major scale. This is the first 8 notes that we learned, and these 8 notes will allow us to play all of the songs in the book, all the way through the book, and take you all the way through to where we are today and actually beyond that. So, right now we're going to play for you the very first thing we learned, the D major scale. Thank you very much. We're going to play 2 more for you. You'll probably recognize them. They're pretty short tunes. It's Mary Had a Little Lamb and Lightly Row. And these 2, still probably in October, maybe early November. And we learned, as you can see, they're kind of holding their instruments more like guitar, or some people refer to it as banjo position. We call it resting position. And this is just kind of, it's a comfortable way, it's a safe way to hold the instrument, and we're able to play some of the songs. And what we're doing is we're plucking by using a skill called pizzicato. And we learned it before we use our bow, so that way we don't have to worry about all different coordination issues and those kinds of things, and it gets them playing music pretty quickly. So we're going to play 2 songs for you in resting position. Thank you very much. So that's a little taste of how we first start out, in the first couple months. And then come November, we're playing, we're getting comfortable, we're learning some of the tunes. And now we've got to start getting ready to hold the instrument on our shoulder so that we can begin to prepare ourselves to use the bow. And you're going to hear the bow a little bit later in the concert. So we learn how to hold the instrument on our shoulder, and this is called playing position. And we pizzicato now with a different finger, like I said, in preparation for our bow. We have a student introduction for this one, for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, called Little Tart Melody by Avery Krasinski.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born in Salzburg, Austria in 1756. Many people think he was the greatest composer who ever lived. Mozart's music was popular in his time, but he struggled to make a living. Wolfgang played and composed classical music. Mozart lived in the time of the Revolution, from 1775 to 1783. He died in 1791. Wolfgang wrote more than 800 pieces, all melodic and powerful, but beautiful at the same time. Almost all his pieces, like this one, have mysterious power and beauty to them. This song may seem familiar to you, and we sincerely hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. So that's number 43 in the book. So we've been playing a lot. We're like we only had like 4 songs we played so far, but we've been playing a lot by this time. And this gets us into, I'd say, December, near Christmas break, and that's when we learn Twinkle Twinkle. And they're learning it pretty good by that time. And they're just dying to use the bow by this point. As you can tell, the songs are getting longer, they're using more notes, and they're just dying, can we use the bow, can we use the bow? And I said, not yet. And, you know, I'm sure they tried it at home. Some of them have success. Some of them, their bows don't work yet. I don't tell them how to make it work yet. You can thank me for that. But then it comes time, and after Christmas break, they are dying. We just do a little bit of review to catch them back up. And then we say, okay, it's time to take out the bow. They could not be more excited. So the D major scale that we played for you at the beginning of the concert, we play it every day. We practice it. It's the fundamental of our music. We've got to be able to know that really well so we can use that to help us learn new techniques and new things. So they're dying. We know the D major scale so good. Let's try with the D major scale with our bow. We can do this. I said, all right, great. Well, let's do it. D major scale, you know it so well. Let's play it. And they do. This is what it sounds like. And then they kind of look around and they're like, that was good, yeah. I said, were you listening to the same thing I want? They do sound great individually, but then, the problem is they have to, okay, I can play the D major scale on my own, because I've probably been doing it over Christmas break even though I wasn't supposed to, but playing it together when you've got 51 students in a group is a whole other skill. So we work on that, and we work on listening to each other, and counting, and playing, and watching, and all those kinds of things. And before you know it, I'd say about a week or 2 in, they start to get the hang of this whole bow thing. And now it starts to sound something like this. now, and now they start to learn some of their first songs with the bow. And we're going to play a couple of them for you here. We have another student introduction to the next song, Annika Christie. The students did their own research on these, and they practiced in front of the class, reading it for the last few days, and did a really, really good job on their presentation.
Ludwig van Beethoven wrote Ode to Joy. He was one of the world's greatest composers. He was completely deaf by 1802. Ode to Joy was his final symphony, number 9. Ode to Joy was featured in Germany in 1990. Ludwig was a German composer that wrote 9 symphonies during his lifetime. The German composer was increasingly aware of his declining health and spent 7 years working on a symphony, starting the work in 1818 and finishing early in 1824. The symphony is one of the best known works of the Western classical repertoire and is considered one of Beethoven's masterpieces.
Great, so this takes us into the pages that we've been diving into. And this is actually probably not too long ago. Probably into the beginning to middle of March this brings us to. And we start to learn a little introduction into harmony. We're going to play Frere Jacques in a minute, and it's a round. And what a round is half of the, well, we're going to play the whole tune once, and then we're going to split the group in half, and half of the group's going to start the tune over, and a few measures later, the other group's going to start the tune at a different time. And what that does is it creates some harmony. And that's our first introduction into playing harmony. And then later on, we'll play pieces with actually 2 separate lines that also create some harmony for us. I want to take this second just to introduce some of the instruments that we have here. We start here in elementary school on 3 different types of instruments. We have the cello, which is the largest of the instruments, and they have the deepest string. How do we play your C string for everyone? So we've got the deepest of the instruments, the cello, and then we have the violas. Violas, raise your hand. So the violas are actually, hands up. The violas are actually a little bit bigger of the instruments compared to the violin, except for you won't necessarily notice that at this age because the instruments are fit the student's size. So based on their size right now, the student's size, their instruments are fit to them, but they actually have deeper strings. They have the same strings as the cello, just 1 octave higher. They look a lot like, and you play a lot like the violin. And then we have the violin, which is the highest pitch of the instrument. Violin, raise your hand. All right, as you can see, we have the most violins, and that's pretty common in any orchestra. The larger the instrument, the less you need. They offer a lot more volume sound, and the smaller their instrument and the higher pitch the instrument, the more of them you typically need to carry the melodies and those kinds of things. Without further ado, we're going to play our round for Jacques. As I mentioned, we have 51 in the group this year, and about 16 of them are second-year returning students. So this is actually the second concert that they've played here at elementary school. One last year, and then this one this year. And the way I split it up is because I have beginners who are just starting for their very first year, and then the second-year students, is they meet on separate days, but then they also have a couple days where they meet together. And on those days they meet together, they're act as mentors for the first-year students, and a lot of times we'll split them up into groups, and they'll take a group, the second-year students will take a group, and they'll work with them and help them through some of the techniques and some of the different skills. So a couple of years ago, they decided to name themselves, and it kind of stuck. So the first-year students we refer to as freshmen, and the second-year students we refer to as seniors. So I thought that was pretty good, and they kind of stuck, and we've kept it since. So at this portion of the concert, because the freshmen meet Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and the seniors meet Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they each have some days where they meet on their own. And Thursday and Friday are the days that the seniors meet. So that allows us to progress a little further in the book, and we've actually started on to our second book this year. But we're going to play some of our favorites from the first book. We just got into the second book a couple weeks ago, and this portion of the concert, we're going to play about 5 or 6 tunes for you, for the seniors, and they're going to play some of where they are currently. They're going to show you all the way to the end of the book, and then something a little special here. later pages is they're learning new notes. They're learning new kinds of bowing, which you saw in that one is we call staccato, where they actually stop the bow in between notes. And this next bowing that they're going to demonstrate is a completely opposite kind of bowing, where we call slurred bowing, where they're going to actually play more than one note with the same bow direction. Pop those loose. Thank you. And then we're going to play two more for you. And the next two are what I've talked about a little bit earlier. We started learning harmony earlier in the book. And these last two are going to showcase harmony. Where actually half of the kids are going to be playing a melody line. And then half of the students are going to be playing a harmony line which support the melody. So I hope you enjoy the next two tunes. Thank you. All right, this next one's a little bit of a bonus. Last week we were working on our listening skills, our oral skills, and we were trying to figure some songs out by ear, just help train our ears a little bit. And we stumbled upon this tune that apparently the kids kind of like from this movie you may or may not have seen called Frozen. It's not that popular. It's not really, you might not have seen it. But anyway, we were just working on our ear training and that kind of thing. And we started working on Let It Go from the movie. And it actually started to come together last week. So we decided, you know what? Let's play on the concert. So here is Let It Go from Krause. Thank you. So that is where we are currently. And not to forget about where we are currently with our freshmen. They're coming a long, long way. This is a page that we've been waiting to get to. Because when we hear our finale, you might know why. We've got 2 more tunes for you, and this is when we talked about harmony before. This is where the freshmen began learning their harmony, playing 2 different lines. You're going to hear half the group playing the melody line, half the group playing the harmony line. So I hope you enjoy these next 2 tunes. Thank you. That brings us to our final tune, the can-cans. This is one of the students waited for all year to play. But before we go into play, I want to thank you all once again for being here and supporting the students on stage tonight. They come in an hour early, as you know. They catch their bus or they get a ride, and they get here an hour early just to play an orchestra, just to learn the instrument. And I couldn't be more proud of them and more happy with the progress they've made. So once again, thank you students who do a great job. And thank you parents for getting them here in the morning. I also want to thank Mr. Sutton for all the support he gives to the group. I know he's just been awesome to work with and really supportive of the group and helps us get what we need and helps us set these things up and comes and attends our concerts, and that's huge. So we really appreciate it. All right, without further ado, we're going to play out with our finale, Can Can. Thank you once again.
Let's give him one more big round of applause. You know at home how it is when they're first getting the boats, and the progress they're making is truly amazing. A couple things I want to mention too. Mr. Thompson mentioned big thanks to all of you for getting here early. I also want to give Mr. Thompson a big thanks. I had the opportunity, 1 or 2 days on our terrible winter we've had this year, to sub, because he comes over from Oakland County, and it's a little rough. I can tell you, if I can get the orchestra going, that tells you how well-oiled this machine is. So, they did a full